So it is very clear right now that the big angle in WWE is this heel corporation faction that Triple H is running, and him being a dictator in WWE right now, laying waste over all the employees in the WWE that aren't the face of the WWE or the Shield. Now, we had a Miz TV segment that opened the show, which pretty much stemmed off what happened on Raw, where the superstars, and in particular Big Show, Dolph Ziggler, and Miz, weren't allowed to help Daniel Bryan in his gauntlet match because Triple H threatened them all with their jobs pretty much. And even though I thought Big Show had an ironclad contract, so it doesn't look like iron is one of the stronger periodic elements, I'll just say that. And, you know, they come into the ring and they want to speak up, but they can't because they feel the higher power is going to make them lose their job. And, you know, that makes sense from a storyline standpoint. You know, you've got this new faction in Triple H, you want to do things differently, and they want to speak up, but they're just too afraid of doing it because they don't want to lose their job. That is logical storytelling right there. You have Triple H coming out, and he makes a couple of matches for the evening, so he's kind of like the Smackdown GM of the evening, not really Vicky Guerrero. You get him giving Miz an opportunity, kind of slyly, because it's like, I'm going to try and reward you, but in a way that's kind of trying to punish you as well. You know, Ziggler versus the Shield Maiden. The biggest punishment of a Big Show was for him to just sit there and watch everything that was going to happen, because, well, that's what Triple H does, brother. And that was a storyline that played throughout the night, which I'll go on to later on in the evening. So, if anything, for this opening segment, we got logical storytelling, we got some matches made for the evening, and basically, they're trying to get over Triple H as a heel corporate boss that can boss around his employees and spout what pretty much he thinks is best for business as opposed to what everyone else thinks is the best for business. It's kind of like Triple H and the corporate are representing corporate, and the face employees are kind of trying to represent what the fans want, kind of like. And this led right into Randy Orton versus Miz. I was a little bit surprised that Randy Orton wasn't in the main event, but I'll look past that for now. No surprise here that Randy Orton won with an RKO, even with the help of the Shield there. And no surprise either that Orton and the Shield attacked Miz afterwards, and Daniel Bryan came out to make the save with the chair too. What was a actually really good reaction. It looked like everyone in that arena in Las Vegas was going mental for Daniel Bryan in that ring. And I'll say this about the Shield. You know, I've been going on about the Shield being directionless and they don't feel a big part of the show, but at least having the Shield involved with this corporation faction gives them some kind of meaning on the show right now, even though they're basically Orton's new version of Legacy when he's just pretty much telling them what to do, and he is like kind of like the boss of them right now. But, you know, this was a nice way to continue on from the opening segment, get Daniel Bryan on the show. And yes, I do realize that this does feel a lot like the Rock versus the Corporation angle from the year 2000. But you know what? Sometimes in WWE, storylines have to get redone because there aren't really many original ideas out there anymore. WWE has been around for a long time. It's very hard for any wrestling company right now to come up with some kind of even semi-original idea, in my opinion. The main thing is, to me, this feels really fresh. This feels really something really fresh and different in the main event scene, which we haven't had for quite some time. Usually it's John Cena dominating the main event scene, but he's not in there anymore. We have Daniel Bryan, one of your guys' favourites as the top babyface right now, which I'm guessing a lot of people out there will be very, very happy about. And hell, even I'm happy about. We've got someone new up there. You've turned Triple H heel. You've turned Randy Orton heel, which are two character changes which were essential in my opinion. And it just makes the WWE product, as this is going to be a big angle going forward, it just makes the WWE product feel a lot more fresher rather than generally quite stale. And if it's fresher at the main event scene, generally the whole product seems to reflect it, especially when a faction angle is kind of dominating the show, kind of like it did this week with Smackdown. Oh, what a surprise! A WWE Money in the Bank winner is doing, and once again, another job to the #1 contender. It was actually a really, really quick match as well, which surprised me. And at least if you want to try and get your Money in the Bank guy over, at least have the match go like 7 or 8 minutes and make it seem somewhat competitive, not just 3 or 4 minutes and have RVD win pretty clean. So, and is it me? Or RVD and Rodriguez, they just look really odd. It's almost like they shouldn't be together. It's almost like it's all set up for Rodriguez to turn on RVD and go back to Del Rio, which means that will be the way Del Rio will beat RVD at Night of Champions now. And speaking of Del Rio, we've got Del Rio coming out to cut what was a typically generic Del Rio promo, and I'm just getting very tired of the Del Rio character. It's just really isn't the same about Ricardo Rodriguez, in my opinion. Just one of those characters that just doesn't really seem to do it for me on SmackDown, even though he's the World Heavyweight Champion. So the punishment for Dolph Ziggler was a handicap match with the Shield, and no surprise really here to see the Shield win this one, as they definitely should have done with it being 3-on-1. Interesting that Reigns got the victory on Dolph Ziggler with the spears, looking like they're really trying to make him stand out of the group a little bit. And you have the Shield taunting Big Show after the match, pretty much knowing that Big Show really couldn't do anything. And this is what I mean. Big Show's reactions and his acting was very good throughout the night, in my opinion. I can't help but feel that maybe they're trying to set up something down the line for Big Show, maybe against either The Shield or Randy Orton. It seemed like they made him a real focal point of this edition of SmackDown this week. And a question, are they going with a Ziggler-Ambrose feud? I'm just wondering out there, did something happen on Raw which meant that Ziggler and Ambrose are feuding now? I'm not really sure. Just give me your thoughts on a potential Ziggler versus Ambrose feud. Do you think it's a downgrade for Dolph Ziggler? Or just give me your thoughts on it down below, please. Did they really have to show the whole Punk and Heyman segment from Raw when they were going to pretty much summarize it later in the promo segment that they were going to have with Heyman and Axel? Really didn't feel like there was much need for it, as it was going to be kind of touched upon in that segment, so everyone would kind of know what was going on there. It just seemed like a bit of a waste of airtime to me, personally. But the Heyman and Axel promo, you know, this is some good stuff from Paul Heyman. The segment on Raw with Heyman caning Punk, that was very good. You felt some real raw emotion there, and that's the kind of thing we lack from a lot of WWE storylines, in my opinion. Caning CM Punk and handcuffing him and having Axel there to kind of aid him. And basically, the whole point of this promo is another one of those like SmackDown promos that's really there to get you to Raw. Basically, he says that he doesn't feel any remorse for what he did on Raw, despite loving CM Punk like a son and being a father figure to him. So this storyline seems to be coming on quite well. And this match of Night of Champions, Heyman and Axel versus Punk, I think I might know why this is a handicap match. I think it's because they don't want to put the IC title on the line because they know they can't have Punk do a job to Curtis Axel. So I think that CM Punk is definitely going to be winning that, or else the IC title would be on the line, in my opinion. The Wyatt Family versus Tons of Funk. I think it's pretty obvious who won this match. Tons of Funk are jobbers. Wyatt Family are getting a push right now. I guess my main question here is, I don't have that much to say about the segment, is after defeating Kane at SummerSlam in that Ring of Fire match, which is quite disappointing, but still got Bray Wyatt a signature win on a Big 4 pay-per-view. My question is now, what is next for the Wyatt family? Are they going to be involved at Night of Champions when they don't have a belt? I'm just wondering what next for Bray Wyatt. Are they going to have Eric Rowan and Luke Harper feud with some kind of tag team, or Bray Wyatt in a singles? I'm just wondering what you guys think they may do with the Wyatt family, what you feel could be best for the Wyatt family going forward, as they do have to find some way of keeping them on TV and giving them some protagonists for them to go up against at some point, and keep doing it if they want to. If they don't want this faction to just shrivel out, kind of like the Shield did a couple of months ago. So our main event was Daniel Bryan versus Ryback, which, I don't know, to me, maybe I just missed something on this edition of SmackDown. To me, it just kind of came out of nowhere. It was kind of like, oh, right, we got to this spot now. What's the next match going to be? Daniel Bryan versus Ryback? These two really don't have any kind of reason to face each other. Unless I missed something on Raw or in the middle of this show, or an announcement or something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section below. But as you guys very much know, I damn fucking hate this Ryback bully gimmick right now. I think it is dumb. I think it is stupid. And I think he's been stupid and dumb now for a couple of months, ever since he turned heel, in my opinion. One way in which I think WWE could fix this, and they're probably not going to do it because they already have the Shield kind of doing this right now, but why not make him part of Triple H's corporate faction as like a security guy, or as a big tough guy that can bring down anyone? It would give him some kind of relevance to the show, involve him in a main event angle, not to mention the fact that he is the kind of guy that WWE would push to the top and make the face of the company, so it would make sense for him to be in this faction and make him relevant. Just my opinion there. Anyway, this match, really no surprise to see Daniel Bryan beat Ryback clean. You know, it's funny how when Ryback was getting his push, he was beating Daniel Bryan clean. Now Daniel Bryan is beating Ryback clean. Now he's getting this massive push as a babyface, as he should be, in my opinion, after John Cena's injury. So, no surprise to see Daniel Bryan beat Ryback clean here, as he should, in a surprisingly short match again on this edition of SmackDown. And then you have the typical Orton and Shield attacking Daniel Bryan after the match. And what was interesting here is not necessarily the attack on Daniel Bryan, but the fact the Big Show comes into the ring to try and help Daniel Bryan until Triple H orders him to go out the ring. And Big Show is really not wanting to do it, but knows that he has to do it in order to keep his job. And I must admit, Big Show's acting here, I know a lot of people really shit on Big Show, but his acting here was brilliant. It was almost as good as Mark Henry's acting when he was doing his retirement. And there was a lot of focus on Big Show throughout this night, which really makes me think they're going to be doing something with Big Show at some point down the line, which may have a big factor in this heel corporation storyline. But like I said, Big Show ends up going to the back. Randy Orton and the Shield have their way with Daniel Bryan, and once again, the numbers outdo Daniel Bryan, and he ends up on top. And this is the kind of stuff that should be ending the flagship or SmackDown or even Raw itself. You know, you're ending the show once again with Randy Orton, the top heel, standing over Daniel Bryan, the top face, which gets over Daniel Bryan a lot more, as we saw in the earlier segment. And if they want to establish Orton as this top new heel and this face of the WWE, etc., now John Cena's gone, and if they want to establish this new heel faction with Triple H, Orton, and The Shield, etc., and who I think should be in it as well, Ryback, but that's just me. This is the kind of stuff they need to do if they want to establish that kind of stuff. And that is one good thing they did on this edition of SmackDown. They've established Triple H's character. They've established this heel faction. They've established The Shield and Randy Orton. And not to mention the fact that they've got the most over babyface in the world right now, Daniel Bryan, going after this faction. And not to mention a nice supporting act there from Big Show throughout the whole show. As for this edition of SmackDown, there were bits of it that I was a bit about. I'm not really that bothered about RVD. And, you know, Alberto Del Rio, the Wyatt family is entertaining, but I'm not sure what direction they're going in. But this whole angle with Daniel Bryan and the corporate heel faction, that got played a lot throughout the night, and that is quite a good angle in WWE right now, including The Shield, you know, including Big Show, including Daniel Bryan, Orton. Triple H was on SmackDown, which made that feel a lot more special. So this SmackDown, to me, felt pretty good. It was dominated by a good angle in WWE right now. So I'd say overall, this SmackDown was pretty decent this week. Actually, although some of the matches I felt were just a bit for once it was more about storylines than matches on SmackDown. Generally, it's the other way around. But anyway, so a decent edition of SmackDown. Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below on this SmackDown. I think that's a no. I have one more thing which I completely forgot to talk about, actually. I had some news on NoReview.com. Apparently, SmackDown is going to be going to 3 hours. And in the famous words of the Schleg Daddy, don't do it, WWE. Don't motherfucking do it.